You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
We'll call this meeting of the Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It is Thursday, January 16th, 2025. It is a little after 7 p.m. We'll start by introducing members of the commission and staff. Commission member Joe Chadwick. Joe, are you here?
Joe Chadwick is still present.
Joe Viuzzo. Joe, are you here?
Joe Viuzzo is present.
Thank you, Joe. Marcy Pelusi, are you here?
Marcy's here.
Sharon Hutner. Sharon, you're here?
Oh, sorry, Sharon. There you go.
I'm here. Sorry about being late. I accidentally muted Chuck, by the way. Chuck needs to unmute himself.
Okay. And also introducing our staff, our interim town planner is Evan Brining. Evan, are you here?
Here.
And our retired but stepping in, making an appearance this night is is Harry Smith. Harry, you're here?
I am here.
And our clerk recording secretary, Michelle Martin, is lurking in the background. And I'm Chuck Anders, chair. Evan, do you want to read the notice of public hearing in Fred's absence?
Sure. The Planning and Zoning Commission of the town of Branford, Connecticut hereby gives notice of public hearings to be held on Thursday, January 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. by remote technology to consider the applications listed below. Information regarding how to participate in the public hearings will be provided on the commission's meeting agenda that will be posted on the town's website at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. 1. Application 24-12.1, Zoning Regulation Amendments, Planning and Zoning Commission. C. Andre, Chair, Applicant. Application 24, or number 2, Application 24-11.4, Special Exception for grading located at 5 Pin Oak Drive, 5 Pin Oak Drive LLC, C of O David DeMeo, applicant and owner. Number 3, application 24-12.3, special exception for general or business office located at 5 Pin Oak Drive, 5 Pin Oak Drive LLC, C of O David DeMeo, applicant and owner. Number 4, application 24-11.5, special exception for grading located at 257 and 261 East Main Street, 261 East Main Street LLC, C of O Mark Jackson, applicant and owner. Number 5, application 24-12.4, special exception modification for general office use located at 257 and 261 East Main Street, 261 East Main LLC, C of O Mark Jackson, applicant and owner. Number 6, application number 24-12.5, special exception for grading located at 22 School Street, Stephen Rosenthal and Mary McCormick, applicants and owner. At said hearings, all persons will have the right to be heard. Copies are on file in the Planning and Zoning Commission's office at the Planning and Zoning Department, 1019 Main Street, Branford, Connecticut, 06405. Written communications may be sent to the above address or to planningandzoning@branfordct.gov.
Chuck Anderson, thank you, Evan. We'll follow our normal format for public hearings, which is the applicant can go first, make its presentation. After the applicant gets done with its presentation, we turn it over to the commission and staff, typically starting with a summary of a staff report from Evan, and then open it up to questions and comments from the commissions. At that point, we'll open it up for public comment. Evan's going to explain to you in a minute how to participate as a member of the public. You make the question, please identify yourself for the record, make your questions, comments. And after the public portion, we allow the applicant to respond to the public comments. and we may have further questions and comments from commission members and staff. We may or may not close public hearing depending on how things go. So with that, Evan, can you just explain the process for participating in the public hearing when we get to that part for the public or applicants?
Sure, if you'd like to participate, down at the bottom of your screen, there's a raise hand button. You can indicate to us that you'd like to speak using that or type into the chat. You can also just wave your hand in front of your camera. I'll try to catch you. If you're dialing in by phone, you can press *9 to participate or raise your hand. And please state your name at the beginning of your comment or question.
Chuck Andrews, Chair. Thank you, Evan. So we're going to follow the format, the items as listed on our public hearing. Item number 1 is actually a public hearing, M&V LLC, Mark Andriusi, applicant, Mary Keegan, trustee owner. This is 72 Hilltop Drive in 43 Totucket Road. It's a 3-lot subdivision. However, we have a public hearing scheduled that at our next meeting, which is February 6th. So we're not opening this public hearing tonight. I know it's listed on the agenda as a public hearing item, but that's actually coming up next time. That would then bring us into item number 2, which is the Planning and Zoning Commission, some zoning regulation amendments. The quick preview on this one is that I understand that we're going to open and continue this. And Harry, you want to just give a further summary about what we're doing with this?
Sure. Harry Smith. I don't know what my status is. I guess I'm consulting planner. So I just wanted to let everyone know that in preparing for the meeting, I became aware that at least a couple items that were discussed back, you may recall, and this has taken so long for me to put together, and I apologize, but back we had the last extended discussion on the packet in May, which was the May 2nd meeting. A couple of the items that were discussed then that we had gone through that were in the minutes didn't show up in the base draft that I started working from, because you may recall there was couple things that were taken out of the draft I prepared for the May meeting. Some things that the commission wanted altered, a little more research on a couple items. And I had put up a couple of things that weren't in the draft. And but I had them typed into the minutes of the May 2nd meeting. So when I started preparing for this in October and then more extensively in December, just assumed they were in the draft and did not check them out. I just worked on the changes I needed to make. So I am frankly wondering if I lost the version of the changes somewhere, but I think it'd be best if I went and double checked everything, reviewed the actual recording of the meeting, and we did this before proceeding with the application. So, what we've got in the document that was filed with the town clerk that you got is what is before the commission. Whether we can add any of the missing changes back into it at the point where the commission votes on this, assuming you want to vote to approve some or all of them, we can figure out between now and the next meeting on February 6th. So as Chuck mentioned, I just suggest that the public hearing be continued to February 6th. And if there's anybody in the public here, I suppose, that can't come, we can deal with that. If somebody wants to make a comment, but I'll just leave it there.
Chuck Andrews, Chair. Yeah, this is sort of, just by what I'm background, this is probably about, 10 to 15 sort of miscellaneous revisions of sections of regulations, some cleanup items, some items that in our experience of actually applying the regulations, we noticed that, hey, wait a minute, that isn't the way that we think it should be applied. And we either want to change the text so that it's, in the way that we've been applying it, or in fact, we want to change it because we've noticed in the application that it's presented issues. So that's what this is. It's not anything, it's not wholly radical or new. I think it's more in the cleanup category. I will ask, is there any member of the public? Again, we're going to continue this to our next meeting on February 6th. But if anyone came here this evening, can't make it on the 6th, does anyone want to speak about that? Evan, do you see anyone?
I do not see any.
Okay. So for this item number 2, our zoning regulation amendments, we will continue this to our next meeting, which will be on Thursday, February 6th, again, also by remote, just like this one is. Anything else, Harry or Evan?
No, I guess for me, it's see you then because I don't need to stay the entire meeting this time. So,
Okay.
all right. Have a good, quick night. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, Harry. Okay, then let's go on to items number 3 or 4. Those are the same address, same project. It's 5 Pin Oak Drive LLC, care of David DeMaio, applicant and owner. It's a special exception for grading and a special exception for general and business office. Is the applicant ready to proceed with that?
Good evening, Commission, Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, 420 East Main Street in Branford, representing the owners of 5 Pin Oak LLC. This is one of the last undeveloped lots in what was known as Woodlands on 95, industrial subdivision that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Kind of starts at Rings End, past Rings End, and goes all the way over to Sycamore, where Sycamore connects to Route 1. Let me just go right to the screen. So, okay, this is the existing conditions plan. Again, there's a corner of Pin Oak and Sycamore Way. This is the end of Sycamore Way. There's a pump station in the corner here, sanitary sewer pump station. And then this right of way is one of the access right of ways to the Bittersweet and Altera Holdings property back here that I think have been in and out of here over the years. It's mostly wooded slope site. We did go through and walk through quite a bit of briars in here and did a tree inventory of what was greater than 12 inches. Although I did take some photos I could show you later. There's a lot of actually broken trees in here. I don't know if this was one of the areas that were hit during that, one of those microbursts a couple years ago, but quite a few broken off trees in here. What they're looking to do is pretty standard for this neighborhood. A 20,000 square foot metal building subdivided to be able to rent or lease out to different people, electrician, a plumber, a lawn care guy that needs to store his stuff somewhere. We're not proposing any outdoor storage. These are just, again, these are basically flex units. We do have grading plan with detention basin at the bottom of the hill. There is wetlands just off the property here, kind of sneaks on a little bit. We did go to wetlands and get approval from them. The town engineers also reviewed the detention basin and the outlet, the drainage and the outlet works, and he's okay with it. We have this erosion control plan, typical silt fence, some diversion swales to get into the basin area. This will be used as a sediment trap while this hill is getting regraded. Stockpile area way up in the corner here to stay away from this downhill slope in the wetlands. Let's see what else. Typical details and erosion control notes. I'm going fast, so if anybody wants to go back. Landscape plan, we are showing street trees with some plantings in between all along this corner here. I do have building plantings along the street side of Sycamore and in the front of the building where the doors are, in between the doors. We do have a sidewalk in this side of the building because there are some exit doors, needed for egress requirements at the back. We during part of the wetland application, they asked us to revegetate this slope with some trees that will get large. So we did add those in after that meeting. And we're also showing some like evergreen type trees. I think they're fir along the property line to provide some screening, which you guys had approved the plan over here has similar. So I think that between the two of them, they'll fill in that border quite nicely. We do have some building plans. Again, these are flex space. So they're basically empty spaces with some small office space in it and, typical metal building stuff. So unless there's any questions, I will let Evan to it.
Chuck Anderson, thank you, Mr. Preddy. Evan, do you want to summarize your staff report?
Sure. Like Mr. Preddy said, this is a 4-unit structure being built, some grading within 100 feet of a protected wetland, and a 37 space parking lot, 4 5,000 square foot units. The use we categorized as general or business office. That's what we've categorized similar uses in the past or similar projects in the past. They satisfy the bulk requirements of the IG2 district, the landscaping plan requirements, section 63D3, unless waived by the commission due to minimal impact of a proposed activity, a landscape architect licensed in the state of Connecticut shall prepare the plans. This was not prepared by a landscape architect. So I have 2 determinations on here for the commission to make. Staff would like the commission to determine if they would waive this landscape architect requirement. The front yard landscaping requirement is partially satisfied by a 12.5-foot wide landscaping bed, where a 25-foot wide bed is required. The side and rear landscaping requirements require a 5-foot wide bed. There is existing vegetation on the one side of the property, and they're proposing some trees to be planted along the other side. They satisfy the planting bed requirements around the building. And section 63L, the commission may modify certain specific requirements when warranted by excellence in landscape design. This is my second commission determination. Staff would like the commission to determine whether they would be willing to waive full compliance with the front yard landscaping requirements. The required parking for this this general or business office use based on past applications. Parking requirements were calculated by applying the general or business office parking requirement of 250 square or 1 space per 250 square feet for the areas used as a conventional office, and the application of the warehouse or wholesale business requirement of set 1 space per 750 square feet for the remainder of the areas to be used for the storage of equipment or vehicles. Each of these units has a 500 square foot office area with the remainder of a 4,500 square foot storage area that breaks down to about 8 spaces for each unit, total requirement of 32 spaces. The applicant is proposing 37 spaces. The applicant did submit a lighting plan and they satisfy the criteria from section 6.7. They did provide an erosion and sediment control plan. They satisfied the 3-to-1 earth slope requirements. The application's drainage and stormwater control system was previously reviewed by the town engineer as part of the Inland Wetland Commission approval. They did not have any issues. The applicant received approval from the Inland Wetland Commission on October 24th, and based on the application materials, it appears that the special exception criteria are generally satisfied. Staff recommends the following findings. 1, that the commission finds that the proposed use is consistent with the special exception criteria. 2, subject to compliance with the conditions listed below, the commission finds that the applicant has demonstrated excellence in landscape design per section 6.3L2. Condition 1 is pertaining to the parking requirements. I just figured that if somebody were to move into one of these units, which it doesn't seem like the applicant is looking to market to a traditional office space to be used there. So if somebody were to move a business that would expand that office area, that would increase that parking requirement. So I wrote this condition. This approval exclusively applies to the general or business office use as reflected on sheet A1 titled Proposed Floor Plan. Any expansion of the 500 square foot office area shown on that plan in each unit shall require additional approvals from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Condition 2, prior to the start of construction, erosion control measures shall be installed. Condition 3, any additional measures deemed necessary by the zoning enforcement officer shall be installed. And any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7.
Chuck Anders, Chair. Thank you, Evan. Mr. Fred, just questions. I know you have some landscapings that are shown on the plan, and I think you used to typically have I think Larry Appleton file at least a lot of plans. Is there? Can you address? I guess the two issues we're being asked to find. One is the need for a landscape professional landscape architect licensed in the state to provide a landscaping plan, which looks like you haven't done, and also the issue of excellence in landscape design. I want to give you a chance to address those issues for us.
Sure, and I'll put it back up on the screen. Okay, so a couple of things. I've been doing these landscape plans for Larry Appleton. We've been assembling. You know, he would do the design, and we would assemble them for probably 20 years. So I kind of have so by a roundabout way, I've been doing these for 20 years. You know, we did use native tree plantings. We are using a conservation mix on this slope here that'll only get mowed once a year. So that'll kind of get this all revegetated. This will be lawn here. The narrow or the not having a 25-foot strip is along the edge of the property line here for the first 10 feet, 10 or 12 feet is a utility easement for all the power in this neighborhood is underground. So we can't really plant anything in there. So that'll be lawn. That'll end up being snow shelf for the town in the winter, but we couldn't plant in that 10-foot strip regardless. Given what this is, you know, I did use native plantings, but we tried to keep it relatively low maintenance because they will be rental units, and the reality of it is, you know, low maintenance stuff gets maintained better than stuff that requires high maintenance. As far as you know, excellence in landscaping, again, we mimicked what was going on, what had been approved next door. As far as building plantings and street trees. I think given that this is an industrial subdivision, you know, in the back of the industrial subdivision and not, you know, on Main Street, I think, you know, I'm not a landscape architect, but I am a professional engineer in land surveying. And again, I've been doing this quite a while, so hopefully this suffices for this.
Chuck Anders, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Preddy. Other questions, comments, commission members? Marcy?
Yeah, I can't really see, I have a sense of where you're doing the shade trees, but I really can't see into the plan. Can you zoom in? Because I have a couple questions.
On the
Well, I can't see any what the varieties are. I'm
Okay.
trying to, I just want to sort of, if you could zoom into the plan a bit more. I thought I could do it on my machine, but I'm gathering that the slope with the conservation mix is a 3-to-1 slope. Oh, that's much better. Thank you. If
yeah,
you could go to, yeah. So that's a 3-to-1 slope, and then the sediment, that's just stone. There's no infiltration species in that detention basin.
they asked us to plant some shrubs around the outside of it, but this is stone in the middle here.
Okay, and the bay on the bottom, and then the side
Yes, the
slopes.
bottom stone. So
Okay.
the side slopes will have that conservation mix with some added service berries around here for
And what varieties are you using? Let me just see the
uh,
list real quick. London plane tree, wait for,
those are just in the parking area.
okay.
I
The
figured with
arborvitaes are
parking trailers,
screening on the left side. Is that my understanding?
here, these are
Oh, to the back?
white firs down here.
Okay.
I think the arborvitae are around the dumpster area.
Yes, that's correct. They're here.
Okay, so the only screening is happening along the dumpster area in the
Uh,
back.
With arborvitae's, yes, that's the screening there. And then
Um,
we have the larger trees going in along the property line. Because they're doing the same thing on the other side, the plan that was approved there.
Okay, so yeah, the spirea, the Amelanchier. Um, it would be nice in that area of the basin to maybe see some, oh my God, Ilex reticulata, winterberry for the birds.
Yeah,
Um,
we can add some additional.
and a
And
couple of those varieties.
we
I mean,
added
I'm
these for the
generally
wetland.
nine bark. I don't know if if that's really native. I know that's a plant that you like to use. I would almost consider replacing the nine bark with the winterberry and or um, another like a clethra would be good. But my concern is mostly like in that right slope that's draining towards the wetlands, revegetating that slope with good native species and some mature trees, because it's, you know, it's a steeper slope than is there, and there's, that impact from the grading because the slope has to be so leveled out. Around the foundation, you've got what species? I can't really tell.
Um, so around here we have um,
Red maples, pin oaks, those are good. Black-eyed Susan is that like a
black-eyed
berm on that left
juniper
side?
here, and
Common juniper, spire, that's all
here,
fine.
the notes
Yeah,
here.
yeah, meaning
Again,
some,
that's where
you look,
the nine bark is around the building.
yeah, I think Clethra is a better substitution for the nine bark as a native.
Fair enough.
And I think if you could have Winterberry in and around the drainage area, I'm not really that concerned about the foundation because it is the types of use it is. So just something that's evergreen and very low maintenance. And then just really as many, what is the spacing on these shade trees that you're putting? What species are you putting in on that
So
right slope?
on the slope, we did pin oaks and red maples because that's mostly what's
Good.
out there now.
Okay. And then the London plane on the parking lot side or on
Yeah,
the street
just
side?
it right in here only because I'm picturing trucks and trailers coming in and out of here, and I was trying to keep something that didn't get so wide.
Right, so the London plane trees are on the street side, and then what's in the parking lot?
No, that's all of these here are the London plane, just the ones in
Yeah,
the parking
those
islands.
London planes in the parking, those islands are gonna get too big for that, in my opinion. You might be better off going with a smaller tree there, even if it's like a service berry or something smaller that's like a medium-sized tree, because the London plane tree is gonna get 50 to 100 feet. I'd rather see those along the street, along Sycamore and Pin Oak in there.
I could
But I
switch
mean,
them. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, just it's minor revisions, but generally, I think you're on track. I was just kind of concerned with how much the wetlands had pushed you to do, a natural approach to that drainage. So it sounds like there's a nice combination. So I'm generally happy. I'm
Marcy, do you
certainly
want to, uh, do you
Well, I'm
want to
certainly
take,
happy. Yeah, I'm certainly happy with the quantity proposed. I mean, I would make a few substitutions, and I can work with them to make a few substitutions, which would really only be for the nine bark, and maybe what's in and around the basin. It might be good to have some of the verticulata in there, and then I would change out the London plane tree in the park where the parking lot is.
sure.
But I mean, I think it's certainly sufficient enough to approve.
yeah, I'm just thinking how we phrase this. If we vote to approve, you've mentioned three things and
I
maybe,
would three substitutions.
right. So just get those down for Evan to mention.
So
Cause
replace the nine bark with clethra. Substitute the London plane trees for a smaller um, variety, which could be determined later, and then introduce some Ilex reticulata around the drainage.
the winter berry.
So, Yeah, the winterberry.
All right, I have the applicant shall revise the landscape plan to include winterberry trees around the proposed drainage basin. Replace the
Shrubs,
proposed
winterberry shrubs.
shrubs.
They're shrubs, they're not trees.
Replace
Substitute the London plane trees in the parking lot.
what was that? London.
Plane trees in the
London
parking
plane.
lot.
Substitute what?
You could I would probably substitute with like a honey locust because they're not impactful and they handle the asphalt really well. And they don't drop a lot of leaf litter on the parking lot, but I have to check to see if it's on the late native list or not. That's where it gets tricky, but there's not that many and there's enough other natives. I think we're fine. And then I would just replace the 9 bark with clethra. And
So
you could
substitute the parking lot, whatever that was, with a native tree. I'm just seeing how we phrase.
so I would
Well-
substitute with the honey locust,
Okay,
which I'd have to verify that it's native, but I know it's traditionally used in parking areas because it's doesn't create a lot of leaf litter. It handles the pollution tolerant really well. I mean, if given the other number of trees proposed in the shrubs, I think it's okay to have a few that are not native. It's not on the invasive list, so
okay.
And where is the 9 bark?
it's
Against the
mostly
building.
on along the Sycamore Way in Pinoak.
Do you have that, Evan?
And what are we replacing the 9 bark with?
Clethra, Clethra species. There's a couple of options he could use.
And then we're gonna add some winter berries, along the edge of the basin.
Yeah, I
do
think
have-
we already.
I do have service berries down here now.
Well, service berries is typically a tree, a multi-stem tree. The
Okay.
winterberry is more of a shrub, but
I
those are
could do
both
them
good
in
native
between.
plants.
Are clethra species trees or shrubs?
Shrubs and they're native.
All right, I have the applicant shall revise the landscape plan to include winterberry shrubs around the proposed drainage basin, replace the proposed London plane trees adjacent to the parking lot with honey locust, and replace the 9 bark adjacent to the street with clethra species shrubs.
Great. Thanks, Marcy, Evan. Other commission members have any questions or comments? Hearing none, then let's open up to the public. Does any member of the public wish to comment?
I do not see anybody.
Okay. Any further comments, Mr. Preddy?
No, the only thing I would add is that, the comment, under the conditions that, on number 1 that Evan added about the office area and, changing. It's fair because somebody may want 2 units and maybe instead of 500 square feet, 750 square foot of an office in 2 units, it still would meet the parking requirements, but it should be, I guess at least looked at by staff.
Okay, so you're okay with the condition?
Can I just clarify the parking? So the number of spaces is for the balance of office storage that they have now, or do you have a surplus that would give you some flex if it gives or takes
There's
one?
a few extra, yeah.
And do you have any areas that you could just have like initially grass that could become parking later, should it need?
In the front, I think on the Sycamore side, there is some area there.
Do you want to hold some in reserve, I guess? Or do you
Well,
want to do?
we're only required to have 32 for, what we're instructed to calculate, and we're showing 37, so.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in promoting more pavement, but if you can put the site plan up real quick, I would just sort of like to get a sense of where how much of a shelf is off of the parking for like snow storage and where that 3-to-1 slope is starting again, if you don't mind. So yeah, you've got room up top, like even in the back.
And this is all flat area in here too.
And the aisles are how wide? The aisles look really wide.
It is a little wider here because I'm thinking about, people turning to get into these garages with
For trucks?
small trucks. Quite honestly, these type of buildings end up with mostly empty parking lots most of the time.
Yeah, no, I realize. What size is the aisle?
Um, so over here it's 24. I think over here I have 35. And then the parking space.
So, do you think we're really gonna be using those parking spaces? Could we propose them to not be paved?
Uh,
I don't wanna,
unfortunately, the owner's not on with me. If we could leave that as an option, um, I would see if he's interested in that, but
and it looks like you
I'm
could double
thinking,
load in the front if you absolutely needed to as a reserve,
right.
based on the width and whatnot, no?
I think we could use part of this. Yeah, you're right.
But you would have to build some of those, right? You couldn't leave them all in reserve, I don't think, right?
Yeah,
Well,
having the spaces constructed, gives them a little more flexibility of what they can do in here. I would be inclined to put them in, so I don't have to go back and put them in later. That would be a bigger mess.
yeah, well, and depending on the uses, there have to be things like, there could be 550s owned by the bay owner, just parked there for their trucks that aren't, people coming and going.
Right.
Or their employees could be parking there and then whatnot, before they go out to do whatever construction they're doing. If it ends up being those kinds of uses. But yeah, no, I'm satisfied that there's enough, how do I say it? Flexibility within the ungraded areas to find more parking in the future if need be. Based on the width of the roads as well, because they could always neck those down too. Or double load in areas or something. So I'm happy with the plan.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Hearing none, then we'll close these items as public hearings, and this will be something I think we can take up in a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Preddy. Next items is again number 5 and 6 on our agenda. This is also 2 applications for the same site. One project, 261 East Main LLC, care of Mark Jackson, applicant and owner, at 257, 261 East Main Street, special exception modification, general business office, and also special exception for grading. Mr. Preddy, this is yours as well.
This is Jim Preddy again, Crisco Engineering. Let's go to the screen. Hopefully you can see the map. So this is the house that was an office for Rich Florentine for many years, who's a part of the Fasano Ippolito Lee group, who actually, they moved the rest of their office to Branford, so I believe he is in their office with them now. And so this was sold to Mark Jackson, who owns Coastline Consulting. They're actually right now not far from where the other building was, down in the industrial park. So he would like to, move his office into this existing office in the building, and then construct a 3-bay garage, because they have some little boats and trailers for what they do, and they would like to keep them inside and the materials they use. So we have this proposed garage of 45 by 80. And we were looping the driveway around so he could basically pull back into the garage and be done. We did provide a stormwater detention system for the increase in the impervious surface here. We are adding sidewalks along the frontage here on Route 1. The little jog over here is what the town engineer asked me to do that. It lines up with the sidewalk at this end, but at the other end, he asked me to get it back out into the right of way, because this is paved here. So we did that for him. He's also reviewed the drainage and the grading along this edge specifically because I think these people have had some runoff problems. I think part of it is that there's some buildup along the Phragmites in the back here, and when it floods, it doesn't run out as fast, but that's a whole different scenario. We did provide a landscape plan. The landscaping here is very minimal, though. We planted alongside the new garage to satisfy the foundation planting, and we're adding street trees. There is landscaping in the front of the building now, but it's pretty old and broken and stuff. So we took them out, and we're going to put in some rhododendron, just because the azaleas in the front, just for a little color. These trees that are saving. There'll be just some minimal topsoil removed, and then just driveway paving here in between. Everything else is staying the same. This existing parking area and garage is staying. The trees that are here in between the buildings are staying. It's just a pretty simple building. Vinyl siding, asphalt shingles. It's going to look more residential than commercial. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Preddy. Evan, you want to review the staff report?
Sure. This is a special exception modification, a special exception for grading, and a CAM application. They are modifying the existing office space use at 261 East Main Street and constructing a garage on the adjacent 257 East Main Street lot that was formerly approved for the taco trucks to be located there. They plan to merge these two lots. As part of this application, they meet the bulk requirements of the BR district. This plan would also need a waiver of the landscape architect requirement, as well as the front yard landscaping requirement is not met. The side and rear requirements are partially met, and they did provide landscaping planting beds around the perimeter of the building. Staff would like the commission to determine whether they'd be willing to waive full compliance with the front and side yard landscaping requirements through the commission finding excellence in landscape design. The applicant satisfies the off-street parking requirement. They did submit a lighting plan to us, and it is meeting the standards from section 6.7. They also did provide an erosion control or a soil and soil erosion and sediment control plan. They meet the 3-to-1 slope requirement, as well as they provided a stockpile area on the site plan, or that erosion control plan. This is a coastal site plan application, so the commission would need to find that the measures proposed, to the extent that they are alternative from the Connecticut Deep 2002 guidelines for soil erosion and sediment control, are acceptable. The drainage and stormwater control was sent to the town engineer. I circulated his comments to the commission. They did not have any concerns after some revisions that Mr. Preddy talked about. Based on the application materials, it appears that the special exception criteria are generally satisfied. It also appears that the coastal site plan criteria are satisfied. Staff recommends the following findings. One, that the commission finds that the special exception criteria are satisfied. 2, the coastal site plan is consistent with the goals and policies of the Coastal Area Management Act. And 3, subject to compliance with the conditions listed below, the commission finds that excellence in landscape design has been demonstrated. We recommend the following conditions. Prior to the start of construction, the erosion control measure shall be installed, and as may be directed by the ZEO town planner, necessary measures to control any more erosion or dust generated by fill brought into site shall be implemented. Any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. This is a leftover condition from that previous approval. I thought I'd leave it in. The site plan may be modified as necessary to the satisfaction of the town planner to include EV charging stations and solar panels. Prior to the installation of any, or prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, evidence of the legal merger of the two properties, subject of this application to the must be completed to the satisfaction of the town planner or his designee, and all previous conditions still apply, or all previous conditions shall remain in full force and effect as they may still apply.
Chuck Anderson, thank you, Evan. Questions, comments from commission members? Marcy?
I don't know what the street trees are for varieties. What are they?
Armstrong Maples, which is on their list.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a great addition. I'm not,
There aren't any
updating the
now.
foundation plan at Florentine's front would be great. And other than that, I don't think that the planting plan needs to be complicated by a whole lot of other detail. So I find it fun. I find this one fun.
Thank you, Marcy. Other questions, comments from any commission member? Hearing none, then let's open up to the public. Does any member of the public wish to comment? Evan, you see anyone? Okay. Mr. Preddy, any further comments?
No, there are a couple of low-key ones today.
Any further comments from commission members or staff? Hearing none, then we'll close these matters as a public hearing, and this may be something we can take up a little bit. Thanks, Mr. Preddy.
Thank you.
Item number 7 on our public hearing list is Stephen Rosenthal and Mary McCormick, applicants and owner for 22 School Street. That's a special exception for grading. And I understand, Evan, that where applicants requested that we open and continue this one to our next meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct. Some additional changes have to be made to the site plan, but hopefully we'll have them ready for the meeting on the 6th.
Okay. So if you're here on this one, this is number 7, 22 School Street. We're going to open that and continue this to our meeting on February 6th. Again, that's a remote meeting, just like this one, starting at 7 p.m. And so if you're here on that, then come on back on our next meeting on February 6th. And that completes our public hearing items. So let's see if we can take care of a few of the public hearing items that we have heard. Evan, can you pull up your resolution for the Pine Oak Drive application? And Evan, why is that big square block? Oh, that's better that we can. Yeah, we can't see. We've got a couple of the findings, and then you can't see the top of the second page. Oh, there we have conditions. Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to go. Yeah. So the findings, just that. Yeah, I think we are okay with the changes that Marcy recommended. Going ahead, finding we could waive the landscape architect and the finding of excellent landscape design. Just noting that seems to be the consensus, and then you want to review the findings. There are 2 findings in the conditions, just the compliance, and then right. So why don't we run through the conditions?
Sure. The first condition was the limiting of the general office use so that there's 500 square feet of the conventional office area as shown on their floor plans. Condition 2 was erosion control measures shall be installed prior to the start of construction. Condition 3 was any lighting has to be, Condition 3 is any additional erosion control measures or measures to control dust shall be implemented if deemed necessary by the zoning enforcement officer. Condition 4 was that lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. And condition 5 was the one I added during our earlier discussion prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance or a certificate of occupancy. Following shall be addressed to the satisfaction of the town planner. The applicant shall revise the Landscaping plan to include winterberry shrubs around the proposed drainage basin, replace the proposed London plane trees adjacent to the parking lot with honey locusts, and replace the 9 bark adjacent to the street with plethora species shrubs.
Great. Marcy, does that look okay? Okay.
2 thumbs up.
Okay. Any other comments from commission members on the draft resolution? Hearing none, then does someone to make a motion to approve the application by adopting the proposed findings and conditions that Evan has just explained to us, including the revision for condition 5 that he just read.
I'll make that motion as amended.
Motion to approve and adopt that amended staff resolution by Marcy. Is there a second?
Chadwick seconds.
Second by Joe Chadwick. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso,
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Marcy,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon,
Sharon is in favor.
and the chair is also in favor. Okay, so those applications are approved. That was again for both applications. Evan, you want to pull up the staff resolution for 257, 261 East Main Street? And again, I think this one, it includes a coastal site plan. Or is it just those 2 conditions, Evan, or did it go further? Just making sure.
It did go further with 6 total conditions and the 3 findings for the special, 1 for the special exception criteria, 1 for the coastal site plan for consistency with the Coastal Area Management Act, and 3 for the excellence in landscape design.
Okay. And then the conditions, again, I know you just reviewed them with us, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Erosion control measures shall be installed. Any additional measures deemed necessary by the zoning enforcement officer shall be installed. Lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. Number 4, the site plan may be modified for the installation of EV charging stations or solar panels to the satisfaction of the town planner. And prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, evidence of the legal merger of the lot must be submitted to the town planner. And finally, all conditions of the previous approval shall remain in full force and effect as they still may apply.
great. Thanks, Evan. Does any commission member have any comments or anything they want to discuss about this application? And I think Marcy, I think you're okay with the landscaping. So if we're good with this, does someone want to make a motion to approve the application by adopting the recommended findings and conditions in the staff report that Evan has just explained to us?
I'll make that motion as presented.
Motion to approve and adopt
Yes.
the findings and conditions in the staff report by Marcy. Is there a second?
Vayuso seconds.
Joe Vayuso seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso,
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Marcy,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon,
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
and the chair is also in favor. So those applications are approved. Thank you, Mr. Preddy. That brings us then going down the rest of the items on our agenda. Our agenda is a little bit out of order here. For some reason, we have new business before old business, but under our agenda, there's 3 items of new business. They're all for the same address. Again, it's 3 interior lots at 72 Hilltop Drive and 43 Toteka Road. And that's scheduled for a public hearing, I believe, at our next meeting. Is that correct, Evan?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then the next item, we have 2 sets of minutes to review and approve. First one was our December 19th, 2024 meeting. Evan, did you look at those? Had you seen any issues with any of those?
I read them. They look good. The January 2nd meeting was very short, so it wasn't too much to.
Okay. Well, we'll start then with the December 19th, 2024 meetings. Does anyone want to make a motion with respect to those minutes?
So moved by Vayuso.
Joe Vayuso moves to approve the December 19th, 2024 minutes. Is there a second?
Chadwick seconds.
Second by Joe Chadwick. Further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso,
Joe in favor.
Marcy,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
Chair is also in favor, so the December 19th minutes are approved. Someone will make a motion again for our short meeting on January 2nd. Someone to make a motion with respect to those minutes.
Chadwick will make that motion.
Joe Chadwick makes a motion to approve the January 2nd, 2025 minutes. Is there a second?
Joe seconds.
Joe Vayuso, seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso,
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Marcy,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon,
Sharon is in favor.
and Chair is also in favor. So those minutes are approved. Correspondence, anything, Evan?
Nope.
Okay. And then going to old business, which really should have come before new business. The first item, I think all of these, I think that first item will have a public hearing at our second February meeting. Is that right? That's the 50 and Etzel probably. Or...
I believe so. They have to go to the ZBA on January 21st. So depending on the outcome of that application, we'll set the public hearing.
Okay. And then item number 2, and with that needs to be scheduled, I guess, 45 Seaview Avenue.
That actually is ready to go tonight. Circulated
Okay.
staff report to everybody.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
go.
the architect Vivian is here to present.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Vivian Dietisheim, and let me share my screen with you. This project we actually had presented before, and basically what we had was we are trying to raise a building, a residential building, a one-family structure on 45 Seaview Avenue. And we had gone in front of ZBA and gotten we've gotten a variance for the coverage that was increased to 29%, which we have kept the same in this scheme. But basically what we're trying to do, the existing building is this outline here, which was partially in a VE zone and partially in an AE zone. And we had gotten this approved to just raise it where it is. But then we, just with discussions in building and builders and everything, it seemed much more advantageous for us to try and move the same building, but move it back behind the VE zone. We have also verified with the town engineer that behind the VE zone is just a regular AE zone, which has less stringent requirements than the VE zone FEMA requirements. And we were able to move the building back behind the VE zone, which is this line here. And we have been able to fit it within the required setbacks. So now we are here just for another coastal management review. We have kept the silt fence, we have kept the hay bales, we've kept all the best management the same. We've actually moved the building back. Nothing else has changed. So we're just trying to get this approved in this new, more favorable location. We will, under these circumstances, we won't have to put up those breakaway walls, which can be hazardous as well. So that is basically the project. It had been approved before with raising the building just in the same location further closer to the road, and now we're just taking the same building, fitting it within the building envelope and moving it back behind the VE zone line.
Thank you. I appreciate the
Can you-
presentation. Do you have
Can you
anything
show
else?
us the architecture? Do you have anything other than the site plan?
Yeah, I can show you. I did. We just proposed this. I can show you. I'll have to reshare the screen and get the drawings up. Let me see. How do I do that?
While you're looking for them, maybe Evan, you can start reviewing your staff report.
Sure. And actually found the elevations submitted for the ZBA applications. I can bring those up as well.
Yeah,
Great.
those are similar, but the building is actually going to be less high. So I wasn't.
I realize it changes with the construction to some extent. I just wanted to get a sense of the general size of it, because it seems like it's fitting
It's
within
just.
the setbacks.
Oh, yeah, it is this is the existing building, and we're basically just raising it up to instead of now to elevation 16, we only have to bring it to elevation 13 to we'll raise it up a little higher, but that's the main existing cottage style house. It's a small house.
What's the main elevation now? The ground elevation?
That's what you're seeing on the screen now is the existing elevation. These are the elevation
Okay, and
is
then you're
at
gonna bring it
grade
up to,
6.
so you need to bring it up 10 feet?
We're gonna basically bringing it up to elevation
Or
because it's
13?
13, but we're actually going to bring it up a little higher
Yeah,
because
14.
we're going to bring it up because this piece here is an existing porch that is about 8 inches lower. So we need to bring the building up above the FEMA elevation 13, but we also need to have some duct work done. So we need to have the duct work above elevation 13. So basically we're raising the first floor that right now is at elevation 10. We're raising it up to elevation 16, 15. So
Yeah.
from grade, we're basically raising the building from elevation 6 to about 9 feet higher.
So is that all contained within the building envelope?
Yeah,
So there's
that's
ground,
all
okay.
within the building
flood vents?
envelope.
And there's no use under that? You're not trying, is there any use for
No,
storage?
we are not allowed to use it except for storage and garage.
And will there be a garage there? Do you have any of the final elevations or just the existing?
I have the, here,
Okay,
if you
I
go
see.
up.
Yep. Keep
And
going.
we're adding because the couple is elderly, we're adding a ADA enclosed lift.
Nice, okay.
So basically this is the ground floor. This was the previous elevation 16. We're actually going to be lower now.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah,
And
because
they're gonna
we
be
don't
breakaway
have to go
panels?
up as high.
Is that gonna be breakaway panels or are they gonna be Like, are you be able to
No,
see through, or is it
that's
gonna be
another
uncomfortable?
reason we want to move to the AE zone
Yeah.
because we won't have to have breakaway panels, which I think is much better.
Right, so that'll be
And
enclosed, though, that won't be like on
yeah,
columns. Okay,
it'll all be enclosed.
nice.
And it's just we'll have to have the flood vents, but yeah, all this is the upper part is all the same. It's just really going to be lower, which we would like to do because it's more practical and also less imposing.
Well, it
And
keeps
we're
the existing
moving it
character of the
back.
neighborhood. Yeah, well, it'll keep the existing flavor of the neighborhood, even though it's higher, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. And we're moving it back. We're giving everybody a little more breathing space. We're giving right now the building is actually 8 inches away from the property line, and now we're moving it back to the required property setbacks. So it gives everybody more breathing room.
Nice. So the bulk was for floor area?
The variance was for floor area for the coverage basically. We have because on the property there's also a garage, and we just are a little over the coverage, the
But
allowed coverage.
it seems like you're not really increasing the footprint all that much, though.
No, what we are just adding because we do have to add we are just adding the ADA elevator, and the exterior stair is bigger because we
Okay.
have to go up higher. So yeah, you can see the existing garages here, and then basically the outline, the deck was there before, so we're keeping the deck the same. It's basically just adding this
Okay.
elevator and the exterior stair.
Yeah, it's minimal.
And it gets us to that 0.29, that 29% coverage instead of, I think it was allowed as 26 or whatever
Right.
it was.
Well, that probably
It's
was
a
what
small
predated
lot,
zoning, yeah.
but the lot predates the zoning. So the building was there pre-19, it was built in 1950 something, or I have it here on the zoning. If you can, let me see.
Well, it looks like you're making improvements to the
Yeah, we're really
situation, for
making
sure.
improvements.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here you go. The building was built in 1910, preceding the zoning regulations from 1956. There we
Right.
go. And so, yeah, the existing is not, if the existing building was already non-conforming, and we have to increase it a little bit.
Mm.
But I mean, we are at this point making it more conforming than it had been before.
Right, right.
And we are not changing the building at all. The client wants to keep it the same.
Yeah, no, that was helpful. Thank you for pulling up those elevations.
Thank you, Evan.
No problem.
So this is, this is what we're here for.
Thank you. Evan, do you want to review your staff report?
Sure. Like she just described, they're relocating the existing home to be out of that flood zone. Sorry, I'm just gonna bring up the site plan for everybody. They meet the bulk requirements of the R1 district. However, they did receive a variance for lot coverage from the Zoning Board of Appeals to go up to 29%. They meet the off-street parking requirements. A condition has been added that any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. They are proposing silt fencing around the proposed activity, as well as a stockpile. The commission would need to find, because this is a coastal site plan application, that the measures proposed, to the extent that they are alternative from the deep 2002 guidelines for soil and erosion sediment control, are acceptable. They satisfy the coastal site plan requirements of section 9.7. Staff recommends the following findings and conditions. One, that the coastal site plan is consistent with the goals and policies of the Coastal Area Management Act. And two conditions: prior to the issuance of a building permit, the following shall be met to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. Erosion control measures shall be installed, and any additional measures deemed to be necessary by the zoning enforcement officer, and any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7.
Chair Canistro, thank you, Evan. Questions or comments from commission members? If no one has any questions or comments, does someone want to make a motion to approve the application by adopting the finding and two conditions?
I'll make that motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve by Marcy. Is there a second?
Sharon Hutner will second.
Second by Sharon. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso,
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Marcy Palusi,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon,
8:15 p.m.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
and the chair is also in favor. So the application is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
And then I think that's that was number 2 of old business. And number 3, we have, that's Thomas Briggs, applicant owner, special exception, personal services, personal trainer, that we need to schedule a public hearing on that item. So I think that'll probably be in our February 6th meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then that's it for old business. Other business, what do you have for us, Evan?
I do have, we received an application for modification to the lighting at the Branford Yacht Club. We had received complaints and issued violations for some lighting that was installed without approvals. They have since submitted a site plan modification application along with the photometric plan. I thought it was minor enough that it could be done or reviewed by myself for this approval. That is allowed in section 9.6B5. That's anything deemed minor can be approved by myself. I just have to bring it to you guys just to let you guys know.
Any questions from anyone? It sounds like it's just an existing pole. They're modifying the intensity of the lighting on it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. One large pole in the parking lot with some powerful lights shining over the waterways. They're looking to bring those back into compliance.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a
Evan.
question.
Sure.
I would suggest to be more mindful of making these lights that they're going to be a lot brighter and whatever, to make sure they're pointing down, because that's probably not the only light that's there that's really doing it. You really see it a lot when it tends to be a little more foggy and it carries a little bit more. There's some lights there that are really bright. It's not just there, but generally speaking, these new lights that are coming out, these LED lights, they're very bright and they're great, but they need to be pointed down a little more, because they do stand out more than the old ones were. So I think we have to be more mindful of how they set them more downward, like they're supposed to be.
Thanks, Joe. I think, don't our regs say that? Or I thought they did.
Yeah, full cutoff and light trespass are two standards that they'll have to be compliant with. I've gone back and forth a few times with the lighting technician that planned or that created the plan. So hopefully everything's in order and we'll put a stop to that.
Thanks, Evan. Any other business you have for us under your planner's report?
Nope, that's it.
Anyone else have anything? If not, then I guess we're open for a motion to adjourn.
Sharon Hutner moves to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Sharon. Is there a second?
Marcy will second.
Second by Marcy. Any further discussion? All in favor, Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Bayuso,
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Marcy,
Marcy's in favor.
Sharon,
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
and Chair's also in favor. So we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.